everyone, Jackie-Tomlin here, and welcome to another episode of When Spirit Speaks podcast. Thank you guys for joining me. Let me start with giving you a shout out and a thank you for last week's fundraiser on my YouTube channel. We did a fundraiser for the National Breast Cancer Foundation, and it was a really great turnout. And I thank you all for that. And we will be doing that again in the weeks upcoming. Contact information. It is JackieTomlin.com, and you may email me directly at Jackie@JackieTomlin.com. You may also text me at 804-731-2302. Okay, so I'm really looking forward to today's episode because it's by request. And I do listen to your feedback on these episodes and on these shows. And if you have thoughts, opinions, and ideas, please contact me. Okay, so today we're going to talk about the other side. Now, I could give you a list of books, videos, of all sorts of things that people have account of their experience on the other side or their near-death experience. They're numerous and they're many, and I enjoy every single one of them. I have really yet to run into one that I would question the authenticity of it. Okay. So yeah, I mean, these are things, it's each person's account. Just like what we're going to talk about today is on my account, and I was asked to speak about it. And so let's get into it. It's sometimes what you call, or in the psychic realm, they'll talk about lifting the veil to the other side. Okay. And let me tell you from my perspective where that come from. It is a very thin veil, and it's like a wedding veil, honestly, and it's like a curtain, and you lift that curtain and there is the other side. Now, with those that are like me that have had the near-death experiences and you wind up on the other side, not expectantly, it's a little bit different. Okay. You will hear some that will talk about the light at the end of the tunnel, and you will hear some that will talk about the field of flowers. And I've had experiences with both, and for me, it was going down a tunnel that was not scary at all. There was a bright light, and when you got into the bright light, it was this gorgeous field of flowers. And in that field of flowers, of course, are going to be some of your loved ones. So let's kind of dig into this, okay? One thing I want to address is the other side, and we're talking about heaven. We're talking about paradise. It's not up in the sky as you would picture, okay? It's actually about 3 feet off of the ground, you know? So it is right here, but not up in the clouds where everyone thinks that they are. Although, on a separate account, and not to confuse you, yes, the angels will often appear in the clouds, okay? So yeah, a little bit confusing. Hang with me as we get into all this, okay? All right. So first of all, we're talking about the physical body and your soul that lives inside of the physical body. You yourself are the soul. This is just your physical body. This is a body that you were given to work with here on earth, okay? So when you cross over, you go in what appears to be your physical body. It's actually your soul. Okay. You may want to do some research on out-of-body experiences or astral travel to see what I'm talking about there, because it's like it's you and it's who you are, and you may look as you do today, but that physical body is not there with you. Okay. I think the biggest question that I've been asked, or one of these biggest questions for this episode, is the pain upon death. There is none whatsoever. Now, this applies to if they passed violently, if they passed in a car accident, if they passed during a surgery. There's no pain, because I think there's something that transpires with that soul, or that soul leaves the body before that pain occurs. Okay. And for those that, I know I get the questions that, well, they weren't pronounced dead until they arrived at the hospital. It doesn't mean that they have not passed on. It does not mean that their soul was not outside of their body. Okay. I cannot give any account on my personal experience that someone suffered a great amount of pain during passing. Okay. Their pain was what they had here on earth. Like, let's talk about if it was a cancer patient and that cancer patient was eat up with pain. Okay. Once their soul exits the body, the pain is no longer. But if they died, let's say in a car accident and it was a violent impact, that pain was not felt if it was going to result in their death. And I hope that clearly makes sense to a lot of you. Okay. Next thing I've been asked about is who greets you. Who greets you when you get there? I'm going to say it's the person that you were closest with or someone that you were very close with. So probably a family member, a relative, something like that. Now, that brings up another whole subject together, okay, of age on the other side. Everyone appears to be age 33, but they're going to appear to you as what you remember. So let's say that your father is going to greet you on the other side, and your father was 74 when he passed. He is going to greet you as that 74-year-old dad that you remember. Okay. Later on, I mean, he is actually aged to 33, whether he went back in age or he went forward. The same with children. Okay. Children that have passed will age to the age of 33 on the other side. However, let's say you're a parent that lost a child, and let's say they were 7 years old. They're going to appear as that 7-year-old child when you arrive to that other side. So how they appear in the actual age, the standard age across the board over there is 33. Now, like I said, those that have passed are going to appear to you in the form that you remember. And technically, what is the dress over there? I'll be honest with you, it looks kind of like, almost like that of what a monk, you would find a monk wearing. Kind of like the burlap sack with a rope. That's kind of what it looks like. But they're different colors. And everyone wears the same thing. Okay? They're just in different colors. Now, to me, you and whoever else is over there on the other side, we all look the same and we all look the same color. But they are indeed different colors. And I think that's for the angels and for the anarchy to know what color we were. I think it's how we lived our lives here on earth, how those colors come to be. We don't see those colors. Okay. So let's say you have crossed over and you're on the other side. And let's say your uncle is yellow, but your mom is red and your dad is blue. You won't see those colors. You're going to see one color and one color only. So I think that's kind of unique in how that happens. What is up with the tunnel? I know a lot of people fear this tunnel. Like I said, I personally did experience the tunnel. It was nothing to fear. It went by very quickly. You don't really know what's going on. And when you get to the field of flowers, like I said, there's going to be someone there to greet you. There will be someone there to greet you. Now, I'm going to get into a little bit of the aspect of what that other side looks like. Okay. What it physically looks like, what it looks like, what I experienced. Okay. And there's going to be some things that I'm going to leave alone because I haven't been given the indication that it's okay to share that. So, and until I do, there's going to be some things that are left out, but I am going to give you what I can tell you physically. This is one of those cases that I really wish I could draw, and I am going to attempt this at some point in time, the different locations and what you see there. So let's start with the tunnel. Okay, do you walk down the tunnel? Do you float down the tunnel? These are the questions I'm asked. I don't know. I don't know. I just know you go down the tunnel. I know on the other side, it does appear that we're walking the same as we appear here. There again, it looks like we have a physical body when actually we don't. Okay. I don't remember. I can't tell you if I felt like I was drifting, if I felt like I was floating. I just know I was going towards that light, and you're very intrigued. I was very intrigued. What was I coming up on? And when you get there and you see this field of flowers, it is absolutely breathtaking. The sounds of the birds are like something you've never heard before. You don't even care if you're a bird watcher. It's nothing that you could describe. The vibrancies of the colors over there is nothing that I feel that human words could describe what the colors are there. Okay. It is something that, like I said, it's paradise. It's something that you would never experience before. Okay. Now let's get into the physical side of it. What's on the other side of the field of flowers? There's a playground. There is this enormous size playground. And there's, of course, filled with children. But who is in the center of the playground? It's Jesus. He's on the playground. Beyond the playground, you're going to see buildings. Okay, there were buildings. These buildings appear to be that of the Roman era. Okay, some of them kind of resembling something of the White House with the big columns out front. I can't tell you about all of the buildings. Okay, I can tell you some of what goes on in the buildings. And I don't know everything that goes on in those buildings. Okay. But one of them is your building of review. That's like your first stop. So the tunnel, the field, pass through the playground to the buildings. Okay. And there's one thing I really, really want to address here. And it's the building of what I call the cocoons, the building of cocoons. I don't think that's the name of the building. Okay, I don't think that's the name of the building. But this is this very large Roman-like building. And to me, it is for those that have died tragically, that have died suddenly, the ones that have passed perhaps without being baptized, those that are suicide that have passed. Okay, they go through what I call this cocooning process. And it's like they're wrapped in cloths, almost like soft blankets, nurtured and counseled as to why they are there, what has happened to them. And to those that believe that suicide victims did not get in, they did get in. They did. Okay. Because it's going to be looked at as to what drove them to that point. But like I said, I refer to it as the building of cocoons because that's how I see it. I'm sure I know these buildings have names. I have not been able to see the names of them, but I know each building has a name. How many buildings are there? I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I know in my visits, I've seen 4. Are there more? I don't know. I don't know. I cannot say. There is a gravel drive that meanders around these buildings. And it's like a hillside beyond those buildings. And that is where spirit sets. Have I ever seen spirit? No, I have not. But you know that is where it is. It's beyond those buildings, like a hillside beyond those buildings. All right. So let's come back down that hill. Let's come back down that hill. And let's say we're standing there and we are at the playground is on the left. The buildings are on the right. And what is beyond those buildings is spirit. Now, you know, you've always heard about the pearly gates. Okay, what I can tell you about the gates, there are 2 large gates. I did not see Peter or Paul or anyone. I didn't see any saint at the gate, okay? And I know that's another question I'm asked. No, I did not see a saint there. Are they pearly gates? There is pearl on the gates. They seem to be copper, bronze, and gold with a lot of pearl on them. Okay, so I guess this is what we would refer to as those pearly gates. What does the community look like inside? And I think this is rather unique. It looks like a community of little brick tiny homes. And if you don't know what a tiny home is, look it up online. This is what it looks like. They're very cute. And like I said, I hope to be able to draw this one day. They look like tiny homes, and they're very cute. They're very much similar, pretty much the same, all of it different. Maybe, maybe the windows are different in one unit and the flower boxes are different on another, or maybe the little porch is different, but they're all the same size. And there's tons of them, tons. I mean, it's like street after street after street after street of these tiny homes. Okay. The streets are cobblestone, and yes, they are gold. Okay. So, those are your golden streets. They're within side of those gates, and they're inside of this tiny home community. And what is on the streets? People, socializing, having a good time. Lots of angels, lots of people. Now, the angels that are on the streets within what I call this community are that of human-sized, okay? Human-sized with wings. The rest of us, like I said, we're wearing our little burlap sacks, okay? The other thing that I noticed is that on the streets are cats and dogs, which brings me to that portion where they talk about angels without wings. And I say this because there's a separate section of animals, and we'll get to that. But because they are with the angels and all the souls and all the people there, I think that may be something that those cats and dogs are indeed angels without wings, because they are in the community. Now, I know others of you have different pets. You have birds, you have snakes, you have guinea pigs, and all these other things. I'm not saying they're not there. I am saying what I could physically see on the streets are cats and dogs. And what I see laying on the porches of the homes are cats and dogs. Do I feel that you are united with the cats and dogs in your life, or any other animal that you have owned? I do. I do. Okay. Are they in your tiny home? I have no idea. I didn't go inside of one. Okay. I can only tell you what I personally experienced, and that's cats and dogs on the street. Someone has asked me, do we eat? I don't know. I don't know that we eat. It is a soul. It's not a physical body. So is there a need for nourishment? I don't think so. There again, just me and my thoughts. I did not see anything that resembled like a grocery store, a produce center, or anything like that. I can tell you about the animals being in harmony, though. Okay. The overwhelming sense of peace is that cannot be described. It really, you cannot put it into words what that peace feels like. Now, the other question I'm getting, day and night. I don't think there's night there. I don't think there's night. Why do I feel strongly about that? I don't know. I don't know why I feel strongly about that, but I'm almost very confident in telling you there's no night there. And there again, it's a soul. It's not the physical body. I'm sure there's meditation or time of rest, or maybe not. Maybe not. I've never been indicated anything of the moon. I've never been indicated anything of night. It's very bright. It's very sunny. It's very comfortable temperature-wise. I don't know. Temperature-wise, let's go 70, 75, something like that. Absolutely no humidity. Everything in bloom. Like I said, everything vibrantly colored. Okay, so now you've got an idea. So we have gone from the tunnel to the field, to the playground, to the right-hand side, carrying the buildings and what's beyond those buildings, back through the gates into the tiny home community and the gold streets of cobblestone. What else comes? You keep walking. You keep walking. And what you're going to see then, you're going to come into, it's almost like a safari. You come into an area of animals, and it's the most amazing thing that you will ever see. It's the lion laying in a field beside an elephant. Okay. It's the monkey that's sitting on the zebra's back. And the birds. There are birds there that I know. I'm not a bird person per se, but there are birds there that are so extraordinary. I cannot imagine where these birds come from. Okay. But you notice everything's in harmony. And this is what I'm going back to. Do we eat? Apparently not. Apparently not, because these animals would be a predator of one another, and everything there, just like the souls, are all there in harmony and in peace and lounging around this water that is absolutely extraordinary. The water is that of a turquoise color. It does not appear to me to be an ocean. I've been asked that as well. It does not appear to be an ocean. I could describe it as a huge lake, maybe, but it doesn't appear to be an ocean. Beyond those animals, this was very intriguing to me, and I still don't have the full answer for that. But there's a wheel, and this wheel, I cannot tell you how tall it is. I mean, let's compare it to something like the Eiffel Tower in New York. It's taller than that. And it's a wheel, and it squeaks. It has a unique squeak to it. There's some kind of unique sound coming from this wheel, and it is a water wheel. To me, it is a source of power of something, but is so phenomenally tall. And to me, it's built of wood and bronze, is what I see on it. It took me a long time to realize there's always something fluttering up the top, because when I look up at the top, it's like you cannot see the top, but you can see something fluttering around up there. And the sun is so bright. I don't know if it has to do with the sun being so bright, or the fact that, like I said, it is that tall. It really is that tall that it's like it's this non-ending wheel that is turning. And it took me a while to realize that what indeed is fluttering at the top appears to be cherub angels. So this kind of gives you a little bit of an account of what the other side looks like. Now, I have been asked so many questions, and I'm just trying to give you an idea of physically what it looks like. I can tell you there's no pain. There's nothing but happiness there. And like I said, I'm just going to touch base on this. There's some things I just feel like I'm not meant to disclose yet. Let's talk about your enemies here on Earth. Let's talk about the people you don't like. Let's talk about your ex-spouses. You're all very much in harmony. And I know that sounds absolutely nuts. And I know that I've got you sitting there going, well, I would never be friends with such and such or anything like that. Yes, you will. Yes, you will. On the streets, like I said, let's go back to, there are angels that are a human form, human size, with wings. And there's different groups, like let's say the ones in red are meeting over here, they're over there on that corner. And the ones in wearing brown are meeting out in this field, and they're doing something. Does everyone have a job? I think if you have a job, you may be selected, or maybe you elect to do it. But you don't have like that 9 to 5, I'm going to work type job. There's no time there. Okay. And that's something else I want to touch base on. There's no time. Now, for those that have dreamed of your loved one that has passed, to us, to the psychic realm, it is an actual visit. And I do get a lot of, well, Jackie, they passed 3 years ago and still haven't had my dream. Well, your 3 years can be their 3 minutes over there. There's absolutely no time. And let's go back to what I said. I really don't think there's a such thing as day and night there. It just all seems to be daylight. Now, the harmony and the peace. Who is your circle of people? Your circle of people are going to be with those that you interacted with or connected with here on Earth. So you may have a street of people. You may have a half block of people. You may have 20 streets of people. Everyone's going to be different. If you knew them on Earth, it is your circle over there. If it is your worst enemy, they are in your circle. And I want to give you an example of this. And I'll refer this episode, and this show stuck with me so bad because the producer did something that I thought was absolutely phenomenal that I wonder how many people question. Okay. And what I'm referring to, and I don't know the name of the episode, I probably should have looked this up before I went on air with this. Okay. But if you're familiar with the show Criminal Minds, there is one episode that was extraordinary. And I thought either the writer or the producer, both, they get it. They get it. Someone has seen the other side to get this and to have the impact this one episode left. Okay, so if you're familiar with this show, then you are familiar with Hodges' wife, Haley, was killed in this show. The episode I'm referring to is Hodges getting ready to remarry. And I think his concern is with Jack, his son, and what Haley would think. And he has that visit from Haley, from his deceased wife, that it's kind of the assurance of move forward. He's fine. You're fine. Do this. Okay. But the stumper in that show is Haley comes back with her killer, the man that killed her. And I can't remember his name in the show. And they're like best friends. And the fact that they would record that, or the fact that it appeared that way, to me was absolutely extraordinary, because that's exactly what I'm talking about. That's exactly what I'm talking about when I say your worst enemy will be your best friend. And if you're into that show, look up that particular episode and you'll see what I'm talking about. So yeah, you may have enemies in what you call your ex-wife or your ex-husband. And there's more I could go into detail about that. I just don't feel that I'm meant to talk about that at this particular time. Okay. So yeah, there is a cocooning process for those that, I get real irritated when people say, well, that person wasn't saved or that person committed suicide. You don't have a clue. They're still over there. They're still over there, and I think people need to be a little bit more open-minded. A spirit could come here today, and I want to end the episode with this, okay? I'm going to give you something to think about. My personal opinion. If spirit were to show up here today, what would their words be? What would spirit say? Are you sick of people twisting his words? That's what I think would be said. So that's just one account. The stressors, there is no pain. There's no pain in death. Okay. The pain is here. And there's no pain there. And there's no pain in this transition. And this apprehension and this fear that you may have in passing, you need to let that go, because there's no such thing as fear and apprehension. And all these emotions that we have here do not exist there. The only emotion that exists there is that of love. And this is why I tell you that love is the most powerful emotion that we carry here on earth as humans. And this is probably why we put it above everything else. You put it above your job, your career, and everything else you've got going on. because it is the only emotion that you have there. So, yeah, guys, that's what I have for you today. And I want to give a shout out to Patty. And I want to give a shout out to Darlene that inspired this episode today. And if you have suggestions or topics that you like for me to speak on, by all means, let me know. Okay, contact information again, JackieTomlin.com. And you can always reach me at Jackie@JackieTomlin.com. Phone number 804-731-2302. Thank you for another great episode, guys. I'll see you next week. Have a wonderful week ahead.